I will remind you of the posture, vertical, nape vertical. You are linking the earth and heaven, and also here the cheek should be like that and not like that, and not like that. Because if you are like that, you are sleepy. If you are like that, you are expecting something to receive a reward, and you are like that. So be in equilibrium, the chin inside, and all the body is relaxed. And that's it. We meditate, and afterwards there are questions, and I will take back the question asked by Leo, because I think it is important to repeat it once again, because some people were not there this morning for this question. Okay, so we go. I may walk a little bit around to rectify the posture if necessary, and if not, then just be quiet and up to the, here, up to this sound. Okay? Okay, so let's go. Pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to your breathing. Drop everything appearing in the mind. Whatever it is, ugly or beautiful, drop it. Because at the end of this life, you have to drop everything. We will take it in the discussion part later on. It is important to learn this lesson now, in full awareness, instead of being just a victim of time. I will take back the question of Leo about the sensations when we sit down to meditate. Of course, when we meditate, all the senses are still working. And we are trying to tame the mind by cleansing it. The mind is considered as a sixth sense, and also the king of all the five senses. If we can tame the mind, we can be the master of the five senses. Now, what can we feel during the meditation process? I can describe to you in theory. It does not mean that you have to feel it, and you have to have all those sensations during, and don't look for them. If they appear, they just let them appear and drop them, but not call for them, and not say that you want to feel this thing or this thing, because it is useless. Some people can feel many things. They can see colors, they can see flowers, they can see geometric design, because they have been, the mind has been formatted by all the images so far, the mandalas, etc., and then the mind reproduces it during the meditation process, because all the other activities of the mind are stopped and in hold. So all the memories can appear, and some people can see a mandala, but does not mean that it is a sign of spiritual growth. It's just a very mechanical phenomenon appearing to you as a memory. Yeah? I said mandala, but it may be a rose, it may be whatever. It can also be a representation of a deity. Some people in Hinduism can see Shiva dancing, can see Vishnu, can see Brahman, and some Buddhists can see Kuan Yin. But very rare that you would see a Catholic Christian would see Shiva, because it is the proof of the formatting of the mind. You are conditioned by this. So Christians can see during the meditation some images of the Mary or Jesus, or some representation of the crucifix, etc., etc. This linked to the external side of a religion. Don't pay attention too much for this. It is just one manifestation, kind of recalling the collections of souvenirs in the mind. It is, the stock is open, so you can see everything. Which is happening to the mind can also happen to other senses. I mean that you can recall things, you can see things, you can hear things, you can smell things, of course, you can taste things, and you can feel also on the touch, and you can feel really something touching you, but there is no reality in it. And sometimes the mind is creating this phenomena because of its own habits. You have the habit, and you like the roses, it will happen that you see the roses. If you feel like some fragrance, the rose of some flowers in particular, you can smell it. And as I said a while ago, you can also taste the taste of honey. But all this is, I mean, that it doesn't count at all on the process of spiritual growth. So just drop them when you experience this. Just drop. Don't regret and say, oh, this is so nice, so I can keep it, and then all the visions and all the music, etc. Just drop, because you are meant for greater things beyond. And I can say this very well-known story that we are trying to hold back a handful of sand. If we open our hand, we can see the whole sands of the desert going through with the wind, meaning that don't hold on to something because it is so little for us. Okay? Is it enough for this question? You can ask more questions if you like. I have observed during your meditation that the posture, some posture should be corrected. Very often you have the chin like that. And I explained already that when you have this position, the mind is expecting something during the meditation. We expect. And if you're like that, you're a little bit sleepy. So rectify when, after some time, you feel to be aware of the body, and when you feel like that, rectify, because when it is like that, you have a rupture here between the neck and the brain. So just get the two, this point, and this point, and the coccyx in one line. Okay? Okay, so it's okay. More questions or other question? When you meditate, your face can show the state of your mind. somebody is thinking about worrying things, or recall some happy souvenir, or planning the future, what I'm going to do next day or after this session. All this is jai, because we can read on your face the screen of your mind, and everything you are thinking about is projected on the screen of the mind. This is the whole universe when it stopped to come to existence. As to the Shiva Sutra stated, the whole universe is a screen, blank, and then there's a projection of Brahman on it, and everything would go very, very quickly, and we don't have the speed. It is like a movie, but we can see it. It is in the mind, it is the screen of the universe. We can see all the things processing on it. So drop, so that we could come to the origin of it, the blank universe, the blank screen, meaning coming back to our divine origin, which is the divine, simply. Now I leave space for questions, if you have. Yes?
Sometimes, based on the place, suppose I sit in temple or here or somewhere during the prayer, I feel nice to sit for meditation. Some days, for whatever is, I don't know, I cannot do the same way. Always thoughts do come. Maybe sometimes the same place too. But what should I do that time?
What come?
Thoughts.
Thoughts.
Okay. Now I didn't control. Even sometimes I don't control. We get lost. But we won't follow the thoughts. But some days I follow the thoughts. I want to stop. It doesn't stop.
No.
It keeps coming.
Okay. The place when you try to be and meditate is quite important. Here you are neutral, meaning very positive but neutral. You don't have a deity imbibing the ambience. In some temple, you don't have a neutral quality of space. You have thought forms. And some thought forms are very strong. And thought forms can appear to your mind in the form of deity, in the form of whatever. If you go in the church, Christian church, you might see Jesus, you might see Mary, you might see, I don't know what saints you are destined in the mind too. But the surrounding is not so neutral. In the temple, in the church, you see, because you don't see, but thought forms are there. All the thoughts that people in the past has put in it. So some people can have the talent of seeing them, not as a thought form, as not exactly as the literature described, but something like that. But at least some people can feel them. That it is not neutral. It occurred to me that when I started to enter a temple, I went out because I feel something wrong there. I cannot enter some temples here. And some places also, in some places in Europe, linked with some practice, I would say negative practice of some not religion, but I would say magic. You can even feel it from afar. You feel that this place has a kind of vibrations which you have to avoid. And so, if you try to meditate, in nature is a good thing. Not in the metro, of course, not in the where there are much traffic. Here is, of course, here is perfect. You have thought forms, but thought forms in the sense of to uplift you, because people are aspiring to something higher. So be careful about this. And you say that you cannot stop the thought. Well, it's just the whole process of dropping things is not the process of will. The will you oppose and you can change with other kind of thought. It is not that. It is not the action that we suggest. We suggest just to drop. Just not to ignore and not to push and not nothing. Just go ahead and take your attention back to the breathing, because it is the basis of life. See, don't try to use will against the thought. And what you call thought, certainly it is not yours. There are many of the thought forms trying to take hold of you. This is why when you have phenomena of mass phenomena, it is this manifestation of thought forms, but not people coming in one way to do the one thing together. It is just together in a thought form, taking hold of them. Okay?
Aussi, notre point dans cette question, c'est que même quand elle médite dans le temple, parfois elle arrive à se concentrer, elle laisse tomber les pensées, et parfois elle n'arrive pas. Et elle voudrait savoir pourquoi parfois elle réussit, parfois elle ne réussit pas.
It depends on your own state of mind then. Related to your second part of the question, that how is it that at some time in the temple you can get rid of the thought and in some cases you can't? It depends on your state of mind. You can start with a good start, with a good state, then you can be eased to get rid of the thought. At some moment, other moments you can't, because the mindset is different. That's all. Because you are not the same, in a fraction of a second, the consciousness is moving, so you don't know your age, you cannot say your age, as humoristically we said, and you cannot say that there is two moments where consciousness is the same. This is the saying you cannot cross the river the same with two moments, different moments. This is the stream of consciousness. You cannot be the same, the two different moments. This is why we have to move with this movement, to be always aware. Awareness is to move with the movement of consciousness, but in reality, in the factual way, but not imagining. Yes?
Is there any...
Shout.
So, I mean, there was... Only once in a while, I felt a bit still. Right? And it becomes that the mind starts to chase the same. So, you said about picture comes, and then you may want to kind of start to... You want to kind of see that, thinking that this will lead to stillness. So once you start chasing the thought, it kind of you lose that. Okay, let me just read.
I cannot follow your question.
Yeah.
You repeat. Yeah.
Should you have any expectation when you start to meditate? Should you try to chase a goal, or should you just, what you were saying, just go into it without expectations and let the stream of consciousness flow?
You were there this morning?
Sorry?
Were you there here this morning, or you came late this morning? And yesterday you didn't come?
I was there.
Okay. Next time I would suggest you to start from the beginning, because we have moved a little bit further than. We don't chase anything. Meditation is not a hunting process of the mind. It's just to look to see and to drop. To look what happens in the mind, to see really what happens, but not imagining things, and to drop everything happening in the mind. That's it. No chasing, no hunting, no looking for something, no expecting for something, because it is all the contrary of meditation. This one.
We have to take a good place to do meditation. Sometimes we have to go to places and we have to leave where there are lots of negative people, unavoidable situations. In that state, how to keep ourselves sound inside, outside with positive energy. Like, let's say, hospitals or any police station or some kind of negative people exist. Still, inside it shouldn't be disturbed, nor we carry that negative.
No, I answer to you. Your question is very genuine, but very naive. Because you are not going to the hospital to meditate. You go to the hospital to visit somebody, okay? And make some prayer for the person. If the person used to use meditation, you can say, let's meditate together to help the person. But you are not going to the hospital to practice meditation. It is absurd, okay? Now, you said we have to choose a good place but then, bon courage, dear friend, because the time you choose a good place to be able to meditate, then your meditation has been to postpone certainly many lives. Because here in the big city, you have to choose, you have to take the transportation, etc. To meditate. It is also absurd. You meditate where you are, and whenever you will be. Meaning you are cooking in your kitchen, try to meditate. And the first consequence, positive, is that you are not going to cut your finger because you are attentive in meditation. Meditate whatever you can, wherever you are, and not try to choose. Of course, if you are in holidays, for example, particularly in the south of France, where people just want to enjoy life, you have to choose the place. And you are not going to choose the place in the bar where people are drinking, or in the place of dancing club, of course. So, first of all, when you try to meditate, you are not going to have holidays in the south of France, because it is a kind of loss. You go there to have fun, to enjoy life. What's that to have meditation? So, be first of all rational, reasonable, thoughtful, and not try to ask questions haphazardly. What, I will go to the hospital? Of course, you are not going to hospital to meditate. Okay?
Because I had a situation where I had to
No. Forget about the place. Where you are, you meditate. In the kitchen, when you care for your children, you meditate. Try to do it. I mean, that meditation does not mean that you sit down on the cross leg in a lotus and do that. No. Because in that way, you meditate 5 minutes per day. Half an hour, 1 hour. But what's that? So you are doing your job every day. You are thinking, you are trying to do something, cooking, caring. I mean, doing the chores of the daily life. Try to meditate, meaning don't separate yourself by rejecting what you are doing. You are in the thing. Do it wholeheartedly. It is a way of meditation. Don't separate yourself with the thing. Say, I am not meant to do it. How is it that I do it? It is the contrary of meditation. Do it. That's all. It is a courage way of living. not complaining, as I said yesterday. Progress in meditation means you stop complaining about yourself. Okay? This is one of the points. Yeah, you have a question before.
It's a bit related to the question that Abhinav asked before about naming thoughts.
Who?
Abhinav asked before about naming thoughts and so on. So could you explain a bit more so that it would be more easy to understand what is the difference between seeing and naming, or recognizing and naming things, so that it would be easier to follow it in the process when we try to meditate?
Mm-hmm. Okay. You see, our human mind is very negligent. Very negligent. We try to meditate to cure this disease. And when something appears in our mind, we name it. Meaning there is a gap of time between the seeing and the naming. But you are not aware because the mind is negligent. So I see it, I name it, that's it. But between the seeing and the naming, there is a whole process in the mind. Very quickly that you cannot follow it. So you see the thing. First is you recognize that it is an animal. It is a tree. This is the first thing. So you recognize, stop it. You recognize it is not a human body. It is not an animal. It is not a rock. It is a plant. But the next step, you name it. It is a plant, and this plant is called something with a name, and now it is finished. You name the tree, the whole process stops. You are stuck in it. And so the question here, how is it that we can avoid the naming process? So I apply always this, always on the move. You see the tree, you move on. You don't go further in recognizing and naming. Just see it, and you drop your seeing. You go to another point further. And this, to be aware, is this gap of time between the seeing and the naming. If in the seeing you drop, you don't have to name. The naming process is stopped at that time. It cannot appear because you stop at the seeing. Is it okay for you? So all the thing, the whole process is that the mind is so negligent and it cannot see what happens really. So it sees that it moves to the next step, recognizing, naming, asana. Don't name, don't recognize, just you see it. Don't say even, it is a tree. This is recognizing. You see it and you drop it. There is no conceptualization or comparison possible or naming possible. It is to you that I address my answer also to a friend there. Okay? There is a question there.
Yes, my question is about this perception, receiving, or negative way of getting, or a positive way of forwarding energy. As far as I understand, meditation is a positive attitude, not receiving, it's giving. Oh, I don't know what are your ideas about it.
I don't have any idea about this. I don't have any idea about this. I just meditate and full stop. I don't have any idea about meditation. Otherwise, it will make the process fact. Now, I understand your question, or even though it is awkwardly expressed. You say that in meditation all must be positive. How did you know that? You have not started to meditate. So you impose your point of view about meditation. You say meditation should be positive. Well, I don't know. I start to learn meditation. I say just I want to process with it, to drop all the things which happen in my mind. Positive or negative or positive, beautiful or ugly, it's the same. On the naming and on consciousness, it is the same. When you say, I am very intelligent, and you say, I am very idiot, it is the same. Because the program starts with, I am something. You understand? So don't qualify it beforehand. If you say meditation should be always positive, well, who are you to decide that? And you are sure that you are in the wrong way because we have our own skandhas, our tendency of the past. We sit down, all this come up, and you have also the collective skandhas of people, what we call the vasana. Vasana is the collective consciousness there, invading you, coming up in your consciousness. How can you decide it is positive? Meaning that your meditation is not a meditation. It is the struggling, constant struggling between yourself, who want to be positive in your meditation, and what happens factually. So I deal with fact, I don't deal with imagination. People are people, we are humans. As humans, we have good side, bad side, and this is why I solve the problem that, as many philosophers say, basically we are good. So we remove all the negative things, the good will appear. We are not going to struggle with this affirmation that I am good. I don't know, I would remove what is not good and I will see. You see, this is very experimental. It is not based on a belief. We don't believe before meditation. So forget about negative, positive. So the meditation is to go beyond the opposite, and more than that, beyond paradoxes. And beyond paradoxes, beyond opposite paradoxes, we come to this that we conceive as unity. But what is it? I cannot say what is it, but we have to go to this point without naming it. It's okay? Yes, Leo. Give it to Leo.
Kim-Dieu, I just want to ask a question. To me, it's a little bit more complex. We all know that when we meditate, we see things, hear things. How about we take it to another level, that we see something, or we see a deity,
See?
a deity, or a god, or a saint, or a
deity, yeah, okay.
Yes. And then they ask us to do something. Let's take it to another level.
Okay.
Not just sitting.
Okay.
Actually communicating. And how do we know if this is true? Because definitely we will be very willing to the present. But how do we know if it's true?
Okay.
And what would we have to do that?
Mm. Okay. Do you understand this question? The question, how can we know it is true, is not the real question. The real question is, what is your formatting? As I said, Buddhists will not dream or have an appearance of Jesus in the mind. And the contrary is the same. A Christian will not see Kuan Yin, but this Mary. So, since own operations in the mind about deity is dependent upon our own conditioning, we may ask the question by doubting, is it my own production of this? And this is called a liberating doubt. Not saying, oh, please forgive me, I have doubt about you. No, it is not. We have to doubt about ourselves. I see it. You say, how to know it is true? Don't ask the question how it is true. Because if you reason as I'm doing now, it is obvious that this is not true. Because it is linked and dependent upon your own conditioning. You got it? Meaning that all your feeling of devotion has to change now. You are not now bound to your conditioning about one form. It happened to me also in my childhood and in my teenage to dream in the prayers to see Kuan Yin. In fact, why? I am not denying that there is a deity in Kuan Yin. But I am asking my question, at a certain time, all this disappear. Why? When the mind starts to function as a mind, with the reasoning capacity, it has to check. You don't have to say, I have to check, I have to control. No, because by your growth in consciousness, everything will happen naturally. And at a certain time you regret, you say, why is it that I don't see it again? But because you have revised your paradigm of devotion, meaning devotion is there, but it manifests in a mature way. You see? So be aware, expect that you don't see it again. And it is not regression, it is a growth, the growth of the mind. Okay? Don't regret. Keep the feeling of devotion, and it will manifest in another way. Take another one.
I just put this question not because I saw something and let something talk to me, but I have seen people, I have read stories,
Yes.
sages, they saw Vishnu, whatever.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting when you say that at a certain point in time, it just totally disappeared, because I myself, my background is a Buddhist. I totally believe in Kim-Dieu. When I was a kid, all the way up to teenager to young adults, I still believe in Kim-Dieu, and I still do the society and do that being the compassion mantra. But to a certain point in
Đại
time,
từ đại bi cứu khổ cứu nạn quảng đại.
yes,
Bạch đi quán thế âm Bồ Tát.
yes,
This is the mantra of Kuan Yin
yes,
in Vietnamese.
that's right. So after a while, I found myself that not doing it anymore. And I don't have a feeling that I regret not doing it, but it just feels like there's something more. And when I went to the Theosophists-WFYT, then I start to see that there's something more than just Buddhism. So it is just sharing. I may be wrong. This is my question.
I tell you a story. I read somewhere, and I think it is now appropriate to share with you here. It says that in Tibet, there is one, so to say, saint, very simple-minded, very simple. He is not an intellectual. And at some moment of the day, he looked at the east and he said, oh, here, it is Kuan Yin, it is, you see it in its own splendor. And another very, very learned scholar, intellectual, say, you are saying nonsense because I have not seen anything. Okay. And then they try to discuss and see for the other in the community, have you seen something? The intellectual didn't see anything, because this is what I said this morning. Knowledge can be a burden at a certain level of consciousness. This mystic monk, every day he sees it. He said, well, what I see, I tell you. But then another day he met another mystic. I said, you see what I see? Oh yes, I see what you see. And all the intellectual monks in his monastery, no, you can't. And with the second mystic, he said, oh, I confirm, we see the same thing. So what is it? It is just a vision. And the vision, this vision is the manifestation of the devotion of this mystic. The intellectual monks, they cannot see it, because the mind is so solid, so structured now, that they reject everything invisible to our world. So you say, so what is true in the story? I said, both are true. Why do you want to choose? You would say the monk, mystic are true and the other one is wrong. No, both of them are true, are right, because on their own level, they said the truth. So it is true. So don't make the choose between this and the other one. This is the problem of the mind. The mystic monk sees it, it's okay for me. I'm happy to him. The other one, intellectual, says, oh, this is nonsense. Okay, you are intellectual, okay for me also. It's not my problem to discuss between 1 and 2 and make the choice. And this is the doctrine, the teaching of Nagarjuna. Never make a choice between that and this. Walk on the razor blade. Don't fall in one part or another one. Try to walk on this way, and this is Madhyamaka. Very difficult. But the mind has to learn it, to move, because if you take one side, it is like you fall on one side or another side of the cliffs. You have to work on this razor blade. Okay? It is very beautiful, full of energy. And if you lose your energy one time, I choose because it is easier for me to chew. You see? It's like this way. No. Always look at the beyond. And the beyond cannot be or fall down in one side or another side. It is time now for consciousness, because it is now evolved enough not to pronounce things like, it is like that, it is like that. It says, observe and see. And don't say, it is like that, this is like that. If you say, this is like that, this is like that, you take the others for the idiots. They have the capacity to think. Invite them to think for themselves. This is your task. Invite them to think for themselves. To use this faculty of manas to move and to go beyond humanity. And we have this task. It is a very beautiful task, but we have to do it consciously, with awareness and with love. You stop your mind for a while.
Can we clear karma? Do meditation help in some way clear karma?
Have some way.
Clear karma.
Oh, of course, because normally it is meant that by meditation we turn out to be less idiot or more intelligent. I dare to say, in this way we don't do silly things, and then we lessen our karma, and we can see also how to clear the karma, because we have done this as wrong. We have to rectify and pay back the debts. Of course, this is the royal way, provided that you do it correctly and not just playing with words. This morning I emphasize upon authenticity. Be authentic to yourself. Not to say stories. Yeah? Not to say to you all stories, to please yourself. Yes, Femina, get the
Well, I think that I can do it.
no, but it is for the thing.
No, it's not
No?
finished. No.
Ah, okay,
No.
okay.
So I'm trying to put ideas together. So my question is, when we meditate, who is the one that is meditating? Who, I would like to ask you, I have been trying to figure out who I am and who we are. And it's interesting to think about if we are consciousness that can move through the different dimensions that we are as human beings. So for example, this consciousness can be very identified with the physical body. Or this consciousness can be very identified with the mind. I'm simplifying a little bit more. And this consciousness can be very identified already with the soul. For example, I still feel that I don't know who I am because I feel that still I perceive. So still my mind uses perception. So I have a perception of everything. So I understand a lot what you say about conditioning, because depending on the conditioning that I have, I'm perceiving something that is not what that is. So how can we purify the perception so that we can know things as they really are? Because meditation is a way of purifying the perception so that we know what are we, and in that way we just start having a real experience. It's not even an experience, but we start feeling that there's no more perception anymore, and we start just, as you said, knowing things as they really are. I really want to be able to know things as they really are, but I feel a barrier of mind because I feel that I feel perceived. So how can we get to the reality of things? Another question and another idea that I want to put now here is by meditation we can just see the environment of the mind. So we see a lot of things. So we experience, and this is all looking at something. So what is that is looking? That can be seen is not who we are, because that is a phenomenon. Then also I can see myself looking into something. And that looking at myself, looking at something is also a phenomenon. It's not who I am because it can be seen. So are we that cannot be seen, but that sees everything? In that way, it's interesting to think about meditation as a going beyond, as you said, this going beyond. Interesting to, instead of moving from object to object that we are looking, how about going beyond, inside, into that a spot, but it's not even a position, but a place where we cannot see anything else, where we just...
I'm asking you the question.
But these are many
ideas,
so
can you summarize it in one sentence?
Yes. So in a way, I just wanted to share that this is everything that I'm processing. meditation a process that helps to purify the perception?
Well, you are doing it so you can see it. The whole thing is to cleanse your mind. So your question, have you some doubts about the meditation we are practicing here? If you ask the question, and it is so, yes.
I have doubts about if I am really meditating or not.
Oh yeah, it is not for you, it is not for me. The question is for you.
Yes.
You solve the question to you, for you. Okay? And then the second question. Second question is...
Second question. Do you consider that this going beyond can be like trying to go beyond everything that can be seen, named, or thought about it, so that we come to a place where we are not experiencing?
Replace the word place by the word consciousness, and it's okay. Of course, consciousness is gross, subtle, subtler, etc. By the process of meditation, which normally, authentically, if you practice in the way authentic, it will lead you to more and more subtle viewing, perception, etc., meaning that you are changing the level of consciousness without saying it, because if you say it, you name it and finished. Becomes fake. Just leave it in life. I don't like the word experience, because in experience you should have an experiencer, and you have two things separate. Just leave it as such, and don't call anything. Leave it as such. And the question, the first one, if you say, is it a method to purify the mind? Of course, we are doing it here. This is one of the aims of meditation. The second thing, don't name, go ahead. And what is beyond, it will be always beyond. Where you will be, it will be a beyond. This is why don't stop anywhere. Proceed and move on. But don't say I'm proceeding and moving on.
If you say so, that means that we don't even have a concept of place or destination at all.
No, you are playing with words if you say it. Just do it.
Yes, in this moment is the way of sharing, because I feel that I need to put it in words to express it.
Just do it. Now take this one. No, you don't need.
Okay.
You shout out a little bit.
Okay. I'm actually keen to hear your comments on Krishnavirti's. One of Krishnavirti's ideas that the analyzer is analyzed.
No.
And the observer is the observer.
The observer is observed. He said the observer is observed, meaning that we are not aware that we are playing. When we say we observe things in our mind, this is the playing of the policeman and the thief, the robber, or cat and mouse play game. It is not that observation. When we do it, we say, I'm observing, I'm doing wrong things, etc. Maybe that the observer is not the watcher there. This morning I use the word watcher, meaning that the watcher observes without judgment and without the observer, the watcher observes without any scale of value. They are just facts which are observed. So, but when we pretend to observe, it is not real observation. Because in this play, the observer also is observed by the watcher, and the watcher sees the play of the opposite. One is observing, the other one is observed, and then the observer, etc. And when people got puzzled that the observer is not really the observer. They ask Krishnamurti the question, but what is observation when you talk about observation? And his answer is, observation is intelligence in action. Meaning you leave the thing, you don't reason, you don't see the observer making a report on the observed, just leave it and then intelligence in action, meaning it sees everything, does not judge, does not give value, say nothing, just see the thing and the fact. And in this observation, he continued, by saying, this observation so is intelligence in action. This is why when we say, you see it, it is done. I mean that if you leave the observer, the watcher observation to function, you don't have to redo it because it is intelligence solving the problem of the opposite. I can conceive that you cannot understand the first sight. It is normal. Don't worry. More and more we'll explore the question and you will be more able of understanding this. No more question.
When does knowledge become burden? How does knowledge become burden?
Knowledge turns out to be a burden when you live on another consciousness more subtle, because you are imprisoned in the belief of what you have known. You know that like that, you put it in the box, it is like that. But if you change the level of existence and consciousness, truths are not the same. Because truth here on the physical plane, they are facts. You say, tell the truth, meaning tell the fact, but not the absolute truth. You cannot say it on earth. Okay? But now you change when consciousness moves towards another higher consciousness. Truth is no longer not enough, facts are not enough, because you see beyond facts. And if you say facts are truth, it is incomplete on a higher level. You move another way, up to a certain level, very subtle. Truth is something, tomorrow I say it, because it is planned for tomorrow. It is awful. When you see, awful for us now, not awful, and we will be full of awe, terrified, because we cannot survive it if we accept this truth on this level. This is why we are lying on this level, dealing with facts, truth by facts, another level, more, so that the ultimate truth cannot be known by individual consciousness. Don't say that it could be known by collective consciousness. You are playing with words. Ultimate truth cannot be known. It can be lived and you become this truth. It is the divine. You cannot meet the divine, you cannot see God because you are still two. You have to be melted in His consciousness, meaning that there is no longer you. So it is awful for the ego here. It's like, wow, all this effort to result in nothing. No, it is not nothing, it is all things. Something else? You are cooking something in your mind? Yes. I can see it, that it is boiling now. Tomorrow we will deal with this awful truth, and we will try to explore what is infinite. And awful truth will tell us that infinity is a concept. But not now. Don't ask questions about this now. Leave it for tomorrow. Sir, I heard that you are doing studies in Sanskrit, right? Have you come to meet with Shiva Sutra? Not yet.
Not yet.
And about Yoga Sutra of Patanjali you have. It is more commonly known. Bhajya Hidayam?
It's more of Kashmir Shaiva, so
Not yet.
in the south we don't do so much of Kashmir Shaiva. I plan on studying in the future.
Sorry?
I plan on studying in the future.
Get to the meaning and not to the Sanskrit word. Anything else? No. No, you can say anything. Question? No. It is now 11:54. We have to stop at what time? Already, we have to stop already. Oh, goodness. Okay.
When I asked about this receptive, this positive, I tried to make a distinction between mediumship and intuition.
So we keep things for tomorrow. Prepare your questions because it will be the last session tomorrow. Ask the question, and when you have expressed it already as Himina did it, look at it and try to spot out this question, it is yours or mine. So the first question is yours. Don't need to ask. Okay? Because it is a kind of roundabout, and that this is focus on it and you can find the answer for yourself. Do we hear each other? Himina? Okay. So let's do that for tomorrow. And then prepare questions, huh? Questions and questions and questions. I like questions. I like questions more than answers. Okay, so then, be happy. See you tomorrow. Or this afternoon, depends.